Welcome back to the BoshNRoll channel. Today I'm playing Legacy, and contrary to my normal no camera situation, I am on camera, and that's because this video is from Into the AM, a clothing company who has sponsored this video, and I get to wear their dope shirts on camera throughout the video. Shout out Into the AM. For this video, I've chosen to play Omni-Aluren. This is the deck that I have personally played in my last two big paper Legacy tournaments that I cared about. I lost playing for top 8 in one of them. I won the other one. And this deck just won the Legacy Showcase MOCS Championship, whatever it's called. The thing where you get to go to the Pro Tour and also the Magic Online Championship Series. That was won by Brady, somebody who was also putting a lot of work into this deck over time. And some pretty big, interesting innovations came out of Brady's build. Last time I played this deck, there was one Acererak, the Arc Lich, in the deck, and 4 Formidable Speakers to tutor it when you were ready to win with Aluren. Brady actually played 4 Acererak and 0 Formidable Speaker, which is a really cool innovation story, I guess, because Formidable Speaker is the card that made this deck possible, or at least made this deck something that people were thinking about, because it bridged the gap between a show and tell deck and an Acererak deck and an Aluren deck, because Aluren could cast Formidable Speaker to go get Acererak, or if you had show and tell but not Aluren, you could Formidable Speaker to go get Atraxa and then cast your show and tell. And that was at least the idea. But it turns out having one Acererak where if it gets discarded, milled, exiled, then you can't Aluren combo anymore was a problem. So you might want more of those. And then you keep chasing that route, and it's like, well, what if I mulligan to 5 and have a quick Aluren, but by the time it resolves, I don't have an extra card to discard a Formidable Speaker to go get the Acererak. Then I'd rather just have the guy. And you go down that route long enough, and you end up in a spot where there are no Formidable Speakers, which means that this deck has existed entirely since Aether Drift gave us stock up. We could have been playing Omni-Aluren, this exact list, all along. However, obviously, I still have one Formidable Speaker. I'm trying 2 things that are different from Brady. One is I'm trying one Formidable Speaker because I do like the flexibility that it offers. I do like being able to just put a 2/4 into play to slow down some attacking decks by a turn or 2. I like Formidable Speaker untapping my Ancient Tomb to get me extra mana, or untapping a basic forest so you can cast Aluren off of a forest and 3 islands. The mana filtering of this card actually does matter. It comes off quite a bit. The other thing I'm trying is I have an Underground Sea over the 4th Lotus Petal, and that's because with 3 or 4 Aceraks, if you're going that way, if the game gets to a very weird spot, casting Acererak every turn, just spending 3 mana on that guy and working your way through the dungeons, could be pretty sweet. I have had sideboard games where I have a Carpet of Flowers and I can cast Acererak twice per turn, and with nothing else going on, that actually is meaningful advantage. And if this guy's going to be a big part of the main deck, I would like the ability to go for that sometimes. Those are the 2 things that I'm doing a little different than Brady. Let's do it. Let's go play these matches. This video is sponsored by Into the AM, a team of artists and creators who see clothing as a canvas to express what drives you. Click my link in the video description or use code BoshNRoll10 to get 10% off their selection of shirts that let you make a statement with vibrant graphics or enjoy the quiet comfort of their non-branded basics. Into the AM uses high-quality fabric and ink for comfortable clothes that last longer. This isn't my first time working with Into the AM. Their quality, fit, and comfort have made their shirts a big chunk of my daily wardrobe for years. Try them for yourself. Use my link or code BoshNRoll10 at checkout. I'm on the draw in round 1. No lands, despite having added a land to the base deck. Okay, here we go. Turn 2, show and tell, and if I draw a blue card, it's with force backup. I think I'm trying to think of how I can play around Wasteland best here. I think I muck the Boseiju, and then I lead on Ancient Tomb, and if they waste it, I can follow up with Underground Sea and then City of Traders the turn after. This leaves me with no green sources if Aluren becomes part of the plan, but I hope that just is not the case. A scrubland. Disappointing. Alright, forcing this costs me a combo piece either way, and Thoughtseize cost me a combo piece. Let's run it. The show and tell is gone. Edge Maze, nice. Okay, they're gonna know I drew that, but it is good for me. I don't think I want Omniscience. That Show and Tell is already kind of good enough here if I rip it. And Omniscience doesn't help me get into the Aluren side, which is the other thing I would need to do. An Esper strategy. Ponder, let's go. I'm not playing around days. You can't make me. Okay, I will take the Misty Rainforest, play it, and float the Brainstorm on top. A Brainstorm from the opponent. Orcish Bowmaster is a card I'm slightly concerned about here. That would be a lot of damage very quickly. It's something you can overcome if you have the pieces, but I don't currently have the pieces. Okay, Tamiyo is not Orcish Bowmaster. Brainstorm. I have to look at the one land I knew was there and some new cards. Okay. Well, we're starting to convert into the Aluren game. I'm going to get rid of this Underground Sea and I think one of the Ancient Tombs. I'll play the other Ancient Tomb, and I have a second Hedge Maze that if it finds Formidable Speaker or Acererak, we are off with Force Protection. But Tamiyo is running. I'm falling behind quick if I don't turn the corner. Didn't get Kaitoed. Blue in the main phase, alright. Ponder. Alright, Tamiyo's flipping here. That buys back Thoughtseize next turn, which means this would be a great turn to do something good. They shuffled the Ponder, though. Alright, deck. Deliver me the goods. Edge Maze. That's not the goods. Tracks it to the bin. Big rips. Alright, well, I can Force of Will the Thoughtseize. I could also just play Aluren. I think that's what I'm going to do, actually. Then I don't care about Thoughtseize. Okay, Aluren's resolved. I mean, they might be a Felia deck, Bowmaster, Paragoyf. This isn't free to just run this out. But in the face of a face-up Thoughtseize, I gotta do what I gotta do here. Alright, deck. Good rips, good rips. There's that Underground Sea. That has almost convinced me to put a white land in here, too. I'm so close to casting this Atraxa. Alright, Tamiyo pops off next turn. This is it, team. Alright, buying back the Thoughtseize. I'm going to hard cast a Force of Will on this because obviously if my hand did anything, I would have done it. So I'm really glad that Tamiyo is not about to go ultimate. Veil of Summer. Okay, that buys me another piece of interaction. And they haven't flashed in a Baragoyf yet. I'm glad for that. Tamiyo's back up to 5. A Show and Tell. Okay, I could Veil of Summer first to make sure I win the fight. I could get greedy and not do that. If the Show and Tell resolves, I'm pretty sure I just win, though. All right, I'm going to cast Veil of Summer. Okay, cool. We're in business. Show and Tell. Put in Atraxa. If they have Dress Down, I guess they could mess me up. Right, Quantum Riddler, I mostly don't care about. I don't care about Swords to Plowshares either. That was... The Atraxa is a distraction to get Acererak into my hand. Oh my goodness. And we have fully whiffed on anything that is an Acererak or could be an Acererak. Right, Lotus Petal. That's not true. I have the stock up here. We're doing fine. Right, big, fat grip of cards here. I'm still under the Veil of Summer. And now I have extra blue cards to force if they have another plow. Stock up. All right, there's Acererak. We've done it. Acererak and Ponder. Goes to the bottom in any order. Do I want to Ponder first? No, I'm just going to send it. All right, cast without paying its mana cost. A Force Pitching Atraxa. Did they have 3 plows in their hand? Sheoldred's Edict. There is nothing that Brainstorm or Ponder would do differently here for me. Okay, that happens. Good thing I have more than one Acererak in my deck. And I'm going into the Lost Mine, which lets me scry 1, which I will actually resolve now. Seiju to the bottom, and then Ponder. Another Acererak the Arclich. I'll take it. Don't shuffle. Here we go. You got another one? You got a 3rd layer? I'm in. Brainstorm. That's going to happen. What an epic battle. I'm really glad this Aluren was just in play for, what, 3-4 turns without punishing me? Okay, we are against an Esper deck. Much of their interaction goes through Veil of Summer. Some of it doesn't, because we saw the Plow and the Edict. I don't think I'm taking a lot of action here, though. These are mostly the decks you're looking for when you play this deck. They are an island deck. I could replace Lotus Petal with Carpet of Flowers to side grade this into a different thing that does a similar thing. It's slower, but it's more stable. I don't think I'm trying to force a negation them. Okay, the carpets I've made room for off the 3 Lotus Petals. What can I do to get these 2 Veils in? I don't need the Underground Sea in my deck if I have all these Carpet of Flowers, and I am +1 land over the build. Like, I would cut the 4th Lotus Petal here if I was on Brady's build. And I don't want to hack up my lands too much. I don't know if my opponent's a Wasteland deck or not. They're the type of deck that could support it. It might be a plan, it might not. They might have days, they might not. They almost certainly have Felia. They just didn't have it that game. I could go -1 Force of Will, because Veil of Summer is doing a lot of that work. Those Swords to Plowshares, the removal spells are what Force of Will is for, more than anything else here. I think I'm gonna go this way. I like my hand. It does enough. Opponent went to 6, and they have Tamiyo. There's some temptation to force that, but I think that my cards are better than my opponent's. Under. Okay. More lands and Veil. I'll tuck the Veil on top, but I will hold on to it. If I get Thoughtseized right now, I don't want them to see the Veil and know to make a plan around it. Tamiyo's in. Ponder. This basic swamp is unlikely to draw a card. I guess Clean to Dust exists. Just thinking about how the Tamiyo could flip. There was a shuffle on that. Do I want to brainstorm? I know Hedge Maze is the top card in my deck right now. I'm just going to pass. And being patient under a Tamiyo is a frustrating play experience, but I do still think it's right. Ponder. It would have been reasonable to brainstorm in response to that Ponder, just to make sure Bowmaster isn't what's happening. Okay, this will flip the Tamiyo. That's mostly okay. This clears the runway for a brainstorm. Okay, there's Atraxa. I could get that in here. It's not protected, but that might be okay. And Acererak does not seem to be the guy right now. Right, Acererak and Hedge Maze go away, then I'll fetch the Hedge Maze. I'd love to find a Carpet of Flowers here so I could protect this with Veil. That would make my life so easy. Acererak's back. I suppose that's probably fine. Motobug. Okay, I could rip off Show and Tell, or I could spend this turn stocking up. And if I stock up, I might end up with 8 cards in hand. I'm actually going to go Show and Tell. Let's just do it. Let's have a fight. I could stock up to rebuild. They're on a mulligan. They are currently tapped out of stuff. All right, well, put in Atraxa. You've got a Riddler. I've got an Atraxa. My Lotus Petals are out of the deck, so I am kind of chilling here. Aluren, I like. I only get to keep 2 of these cards due to hand size. I want the Aluren. I want the Brainstorm. I'll take Atraxa. And I could take more. I just don't get to keep them all. If I do this, what does that look like? I just discard Atraxa to hand size, and I haven't actually done anything. Right, I don't want the Atraxa then. What am I discarding to hand size here? Probably stock up, which is the same as just not taking the Brainstorm. Or what do I have selected? I have City of Traders and Aluren selected. All right, I will stop there. And my opponent has to answer Atraxa before anything else happens. And then I have a Force of Will, Veil of Summer protected Aluren win next turn. I was kind of hoping they would Force of Will the Show and Tell, so I would have fewer cards in hand and get to restock better. But I guess I'll just keep my Force. Surgical Link, Show and Tell. You can have them. Okay, they see my hand now. There is a Brainstorm in my graveyard. If they wanted Tamiyo pick up Surgical, I'd take the Brainstorm out of my hand, but that doesn't change my ability to do anything. And I'm glad I didn't Surveil away that Acererak last turn. That Surgical would have got me pretty good. 4 cards in hand. Tamiyo could pick up Ponder. There's a Ponder from hand. There's a Clue that could be cracked. They got to solve a lot of problems here. Shuffled the Ponder. They've shuffled all 3 of these Ponders, by the way. Just can't find anything they want. Plussing Tamiyo. That's interesting. Well, they're not looking for another solution. Ooh. There's a little dark ritual on my combo turn. I'll take it. I'll play out the city. attack Tamiyo. This does kill Tamiyo if it connects, and their life total doesn't matter otherwise. All right, Rizzler is dealt with. Second main, I'll make green, and I'm just going to rip off the Aluren, hold the Veil, and I can win anytime now. Yeah, I could just pass. All right, yeah, I'm just going to pass, actually. If they crack this fetch land, I'll win in response, because then there's no white mana for Swords to Plowshares. Okay, Ophelia for freezies, and 3 cards left in hand. How good could they be? If my opponent untaps, they get a lot more options, but if they crack this clue, I can also rip it. All right. I'll go now, which they didn't crack the clue or the fetch, which makes this line a little bit awkward, but I still have 2 layers of protection, and I'm going to go for it. I don't want Ophelia to start doing stuff. Consign to memory. Okay, so I just get to keep Acererak in play now. Whenever this attacks, for each opponent, I make a 2/2 zombie unless they sacrifice a creature. Sure. All right. I have 2 gigantic creatures in play. Yeah, Acererak's a very different object than Thassa's Oracle as far as game-winning creatures you can consign to memory once they're entered. Like, this is a whole body. We're here. Ooh, Caracas is very good, though. But they're tapping it. Wow. Why? Just no respect for Atraxa? What's going on here? Okay, I'm going to force this pitching Brainstorm. If they're going to tap out of this Caracas and just leave Felia back to defeat this whole army of brutal legends, I'm going to take that. They might have Swords to Plowshares. I'm trying to think of single cards in their hand that could still matter here. And they have seen my hand, so they were making this plan all along where I was not. Okay, Tamiyo just picked up Consign to Memory. That will permanently exile one of these things. Oh, permanently exile Aluren. Sure. Interesting. Well, Belly is dead. Yeah, there's just so many problems to solve right now for my opponent that they've triggered things twice. In this, Caracas will eventually become a problem for me, but hopefully not immediately. Okay, I'll make blue with stock up, or blue with carpet to cast stock up. I'm very close to casting this Omniscience. I have 5, 6, 7, 8. I'll take Acererak and I guess Omniscience, and then attack Tamiyo with Acererak and my opponent with Atraxa. And my opponent can't sacrifice a creature, so I'll get a 2/2 zombie from this attack, fair and square. All right, game got weird, but I am still ahead. Brainstorm is fine. I might just cycle off one of these Veil of Summers. I don't think I need 2 of them at this point, and they've cast a blue spell. A land. Another Brainstorm. Swords to Plowshares. I'll Veil in response, see if I spike a counterspell. All right, no love. I mean, they're in pretty good position here with the Caracas, and I boarded out the Underground Sea, but I do have a carpet. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1 short. I am not going to carpet first main, because if they bounce a Acererak, I want to use that. Attack for 2. Zombie token, getting it done. And I think I actually want to Brainstorm in response to the carpet trigger. Though I know, like if I'm about to draw a Lorwyn or something, rather than making black. Cracking their clue in response. No such luck. Stock up is pretty nice. Edge Maze is gone. I don't need 2 Acereraks here. I think stocking up is better. I make blue, cast stock up. There's Aluren and another carpet. I think I would rather have another Acererak, though. That can beat a removal spell. They have 1 card in hand, and I could pay for days anyway. All right, I think I win. Aluren. Opponent made a real good effort out of that. We saw a lot of cool interactions. The Atraxa plus Acererak, and they actually did manage to stabilize the board, but unfortunately, I am still a combo deck after all that. Really cool game. On to the next one. The BoshNRoll channel is brought to you by Tales of Adventure. TOAMagic.com has almost 100,000 unique cards in stock. They offer free track shipping on every order, plus next day or 2-day options when you have an event coming up fast. They offer on-site pickup at major Magic events throughout the US, so you're never scrambling before your tournament. Stop by their booth to buy, sell, or trade at upcoming regional championships, Magic Con, Spotlight Series, and more. I love their selection of individually scanned high-end cards that show you exactly what you're buying. And the best part is saving 5% on every order with promo code BOSH. From Ancestral Recall to Zombie Master, get what you need quickly and in one place at toamagic.com. Eternal lives here. I'm on the draw in round 2, and I have a new shirt on, also into the AM. There was a dragon shirt a minute ago. Now it's this scenic tree and mountain situation. And sorry about my camera positioning last round. Obviously, that is a new feature that I'm not used to, and I was covering part of my hand for most of the game. Hopefully, I found a better spot for it now. My hand is mid. This doesn't select for anything important. Formidable Speaker can get Atraxa, but that doesn't matter. I am a show and tell or an Aluren away from going nuts, and I do have some redundancy with that. I think that's tough. And I could definitely do better, but having the acceleration, Hedge Maze can select. I'm actually going to try this. Go ahead, tell me I'm crazy. A Marsh Flats. Oh, they're probably the Epic Storm or some... Oh, wait. Nope, a Yoran was revealed. Nope, it's definitely Taxes. Okay. I will hold my horses then. Taxes is scary because this is a deck that can beat you with your own Aluren. They have so many things they can do, like Skyclave Apparition or Recruiter of the Guard, grab a Solitude, pick off your Acererak. It's kind of a spooky deck to play against. A Flooded Strand. Thoughtseize. Alright. I do have basically 3 of the same card in my hand. I have 3 payoffs for something that I don't have yet. And recognizing that this is Black-White Taxes and them having Thoughtseize, I really like the stable mana. I like that I'm not particularly weak to a Thoughtseize. These are all good traits here of a hand, though obviously I do need to start doing something. Okay, they took a Acererak. Hopefully this Formidable Speaker has confused them, because in the old Formidable Speaker builds, they just turned off Aluren completely, but that's not how I'm built. I'm built different, as they say. Basic Island, and that card is solid in the matchup, but it's not what my hand needs. Another Trop. My hand didn't need that either. I guess I'll put this Lotus Petal into play, in case there is a Thalia or some shit that I have to care about. Might as well get that out of the way. Archon of Emeria. I don't think Death in Texas plays that, but I'm just saying cards that might matter. Stoneforge Mystic. This might get Meteor Sword, which makes Show and Tell a risky card to cast. But Aluren is still in business. Yeah, there's Meteor Sword. And I am going to fetch Surveil. Holding up this fetch land to make Brainstorms or Ponders better versus getting looking an extra card. All right, I mean, I'm going to send it. I don't have another option here. If they have a Solitude or similar, you got me. And there's not even really any holding that can be done here, because if they untap, they could put in Meteor Sword, force the action on Aluren. Whatever, here we go. Formidable Speaker. Discard Forest, go get Acererak number 2, and bust it. This is all I can do. It's not getting better if they can untap. I expect this to be removed somehow. Oh, okay. Well, I'm in the Lost Mine. I'm going off over top of the triggers, because they don't matter if this works, and they just take time to resolve. The fetch is interesting. Okay, so they had the Plow, but wanted to let me go an extra step into the dungeon for some reason. Okay. Goblin Lair versus Mine Tunnels. I think the treasure is more important than the goblin. And now I get to scry 1. I'll put Tropical Island on the bottom. And pass. Now we'll see if they want to use Meteor Sword to blow up Aluren immediately. Or are they going to cast 3 creatures in my instep here and just bury me with Thalias? Okay, yeah, I was never winning this one. Busy worried about my camera placement rather than seeing that my opponent had Yorion in their deck. Is this game winnable? I don't think so. All right, I'm good. I don't even care what you're getting. Oh, Lorwyn. Yeah, that one works too. All right. Consigned to Memories coming in. Those are pretty important. And Veil of Summer. They are a Thoughtseize deck, but I don't think that's actually where I want to be. Nature's Claim is a little bit interesting. I don't think I'm bringing that in, though. Pithing Needle, Grafdigger's Cage. I think it's just the consigns coming in and trying to make it work. Oh, Needle has a lot of action in this matchup. I should think about that. Are there any truly terrible cards left? Not really. All right. Just the consigns in. Try to keep it going and mulligan now that I know the matchup better. The last time I played this deck, I had Defense Grid in the sideboard, which is actually great in matchups where they can use your Aluren against you. And it's obviously great versus counterspells too, but when Aluren is actually symmetrical, and everyone's allowed to use it, but most people can't. Okay, this is a turn 1 stock up. I guess I'll keep. It's also a turn 2 Aluren, but I can't run that down and dirty in this matchup. Stock up. Another stock up and a Force of Will. Do I want Force of Will or my next land? And I want Force of Will, but I think I have to take the land. Oh, that's so frustrating. You know what? I'm actually going to take Force of Will. If they don't Wasteland me, this is definitely the better play. If they do Wasteland me, I do have more lands, or I have another land that can at least surveil, and I have some protection. And that also means that they were Wastelanding me on the draw. Cool. Forest was a good draw here. Scrub land. I think I have to let this Thoughtseize through. I don't want to spend 2 cards on that. Not yet. I have enough moving pieces here. Like, they might just have to take the stock up. Yep, stock up is gone. And that means I don't have to fetch here. The third Atraxa, you love to see it. And now my hand needs a Show and Tell and another mana. That's starting to become a tough sell. I could have played this game a little slower. If I save the Lotus Petal, just lead on Misty Rainforest, then they mostly have to Thoughtseize me instead of Wasteland, but I don't want that to happen either. Consign to Memory doesn't help here. Okay, another land. Show and Tell, starting to be okay. Show and Tell is just a draw 4 now because of the Caracas. I didn't bring in Pithing Needle to deal with that. Lion Sash Beatdown is happening. It is getting pumped for at least 1. Okay. Alright, they're going all damage. That probably means their hand is really good against the card Aluren, which they have seen in my hand. Edge Maze, City of Traders. I will keep that, but I'm going to leave it in my hand and just pass. I think my only chance here is to get the Aluren down on a turn where I can win immediately. So I'm looking for Acererak or Formidable Speaker now, and then Force of Will has to be good enough to get me through whatever their 5 cards in hand are, which seems unlikely. And I'm also on a very short clock. They could actually make it a 1-turn clock right now. Eat my land, eat your Wasteland. I take 6. Yeah, alright. Tight. Alright, I gotta draw one of my payoffs right now. That's not it. Alright. I actually think this matchup's pretty hard, and we saw why in game 1. Game 2, they just picked me apart, and my stock-ups didn't convert, but game 1, definitely. I did everything I was supposed to do, they just did it better. This video is sponsored by MOCSfield.com, the easiest way to build Magic decks online. MOCSfield supports over 30 formats, including Legacy and everything else you'll see on this channel. There's multiple customizations so you can interact with your deck how you want. Views such as text, grid, or stacks, and groupings like type, subtype, color, color identity, even artist. The site offers light mode, dark mode, and so much more. However you want to see your deck, MOCSfield can provide it for you. Follow my MOCSfield to keep up with the channel and what I'm playing in paper. I'll see you there. I'm on the play in round 3 with a turn 1 Show and Tell. I'll keep. I wish this was Ancient Tomb with every core of my being, but I'm going to rip off this turn 1 Atraxa. You can't stop me. Opponent kept 7. Ka-chow. Please don't have force. Please just die. Put in Ocelot Pride, and then die. Okay, the card resolved. You've got a Bowmaster, I've got an Atraxa. We'll see if their deck can beat this. Lotus Petal, nice. Fetch land. Another Show and Tell. Brainstorm and Aluren. Done. And I can play out the Petal. And I actually have the full win next turn. I can Show and Tell in the Aluren. or cast the Aluren. They're both here. All available. Okay, opponent has to beat an Atraxa and then also beat the follow-up Aluren combo. Bloodstained Mire. So they're still playing cards. They could concede this game and play on, or like go to game 2 when I just know they're an Orcish Bowmaster deck, but they are playing like they can beat Atraxa and Cabal Therapy. I think this is the Osla Pride deck. Okay, they Cabal Therapied Brainstorm, a card I was absolutely not going to cast into Orcish Bowmaster. And they can flash back the Therapy with the Orc Army token. But the twist here is I can cast Aluren or I could Show and Tell the Aluren. So they have to Cabal Therapy Aluren here, which leaves me with Show and Tell. And I guess they could take Acererak, and that's kind of the same thing. Okay, they did name Show and Tell. Does this deck have any creatures in it that can mess me up? Do they not see the deterministic kill here? Do they have Solitude in their hand? What does it mean that they left me with all of this? Okay, they figured it out. All right, we're against an Orzhov, if not Mardu, cat deck. I have to believe that's what's going on over there. I like Veil of Summer. It's good against Thoughtseize, and if they do have the red splash, it's also good against Pyroblast. I'm not going to bring in Hydroblast. This might actually just be a no sideboard situation. I could board out this Underground Sea and bring in one extra Veil. All right, I guess I'll try that. These kinds of matchups are the reason you select a deck like this. All right, I will keep. It's a little slower than I'd like, but I do have a payoff for Show and Tell or for... I am going to force this. I can pay off a Show and Tell or a Aluren if I find them. Okay, I hope they Thoughtseize me again next turn, and I can get this Veil going. That was a play draw situation. I had to 2-for-1 myself instead of 2-for-1ing them. I'm going to get a Hedge Maze here. Brainstorm. I will keep that. They are showing Bowmaster, but if they fetch, I can Brainstorm in response. If they end step Bowmaster, I can Brainstorm in response. I could also Veil of Summer a Bowmaster turn. I've got options here. I'm going to let this fetch resolve, because if they just hold up 2 mana forever, that's better for me. Okay, I'll Brainstorm now while they're not showing it. Alright, there's Show and Tell. I'm going to put back Formidable Speaker, or Ponder and Formidable Speaker, or Speaker Ponder. What order do I want to do this in? If I cast Veil this turn, it doesn't matter. If I get Wastelanded, it matters a little bit. Alright, I'll go Speaker Ponder. I would normally hide the Show and Tell, but I have the Veil for that. They would have to go Wasteland my untapped land and then move to second main Thoughtseize me to punish this. But then I would have lost the Atraxa anyway. Well, there it is. Alright, I'll float a green. I will use Lotus Petal to protect myself if I have to here. Alright, well, the thing I said did happen. And I think Show and Tell is an easy enough name. Okay, I did actually forget to play around Cabal Therapy. Like, if I put the Show and Tell on top, then are they going to blind name Atraxa? I don't think so. Alright, I like this Lotus Petal. Basic Forest is okay. Brainstorm's okay. All these cards are okay, which means Hedge Maze is mid. And maybe I'll just dump the Brainstorm. No, I'm just going to keep it all. This is a tricky spot where everything could matter. If they Wasteland me, it's fine. That Caracas is actually annoying. Overlord of the Baelmark. Currently no targets. They milled Felia and May. Okay, 2 things that are pretty decent. They're also both legends. And maybe I'm just supposed to have Pale Needle in versus white decks in general because of Caracas. They got back Felia. Oh, I could rip Show and Tell off here. That puts their Felia into play for them, which supercharges this Overlord, which seems like a huge mistake. I will Brainstorm. And I can still Show and Tell this turn if I want to. Or no, I can't, because that's not how it works. Alright, well, here is multiple copies of everything. I guess I'll go Atraxa, Show and Tell on top. And then... Oh wait, I can still Show and Tell. That is how that works. What did I think was happening? I'm going to pass, though. I don't want to turn on this Overlord for completely free. Alright, Thoughtseize. Nice one. Luckily for me, I have a Show and Tell on top of my deck. They might shell game this and take the Atraxa, which would be kind of interesting. Then I'd have to wait a turn. Ooh, smart, smart, smart. played around it. And now Felia's come in whether I like it or not. I'm in some amount of trouble here. Top of my deck is Atraxa, though. Yeah, I think that that first brainstorm, like forgetting that they had Cabal Therapy, having to veil that, which means this Thoughtseize connected on a pivotal turn of development. That actually is what's deciding the game, which is really cool. I didn't think it mattered because I had Veil, but then they had exactly Wasteland plus Cabal Therapy. If they have Wasteland Thoughtseize, I guess that's the same thing. No, Thoughtseize takes the Atraxa, so it had to be Wasteland Cabal Therapy to be specifically punished by that. And here, they know they're going to hit 2 Show and Tells. Oh, that's so tight. And then Felia just comes right back. All right, I've lost this game. I would rather concede than be so cleverly manipulated with face-up information. All right, Pithing Needle's coming in. It's going to name Caracas. And some number of Force of Will is okay, but it can be less, I think. Okay, I'm on the play this time. Should I go? And there are a white removal deck as well. Like Swords to Plowshares means I have to keep some amount of Force of Will available. I was thinking about going up to 4 Veil of Summers. All right, I'll keep this. Luda Delta Pass. The basic forest is too obvious, I think. Plains, Deafening Silence. Okay. Do I care about Deafening Silence? No? All right. I'll just draw for turn, and I can play on basics if I want to. Oh, I think I want to. Island, Ponder. Ancient Tomb, City of Traders, Pithing Needle. Hell yeah. I like most of these things. Don't shuffle, do play forest, pass. Caracas. If only I sideboarded in Pithing Needle. Wink, wink. The Deafening Silence means I can't protect Acererak if I start doing stuff. Okay. Pithing Needle, name Caracas. And the top card of my deck is City of Traders. I can afford to be wastelanded here. I will play out the Ancient Tomb. It didn't end up Felia, that's interesting. There is 1 Boseiju in my deck if I need to clear this Deafening Silence for any reason. Stoneforge Mystic. Alright, well, if that gets the Meteor Sword... Oh, Cauldron Complete. Does that mean they already have Meteor Sword? Interesting, okay. And I guess I just let it rip. Show and Tell, put in Atraxa. Yeah, Meteor Sword is fine. I'll draw a million here. We've got Omniscience. That functions as Aluren. Missing on Aluren here is actually tough. I got Petal, Trop, Ponder, Omni, Brainstorm. All right, I will take those. I can't play out the Petal. I can play out the Trop. And I guess I'm just discarding Petal to hand size, right? There's no time when that's going to be part of anything I do. All right, that's gone. Meteor Sword is in play. I can Brainstorm in my opponent's end step. They have been missing land drops, which means the hand is all spells. All spells plus Cauldron. Do they want to tap out here to stick this Cauldron and get to work on my life total? Uh-oh, black mana unlocked. Here comes Cauldron, and they do still have their spell for the turn. This is 5. They can attack for 8, 9 next turn. A end step Brainstorm. Use my spell for the turn. I found a Show and Tell. That's good. Put back... Yeah, the Deafening Silence now matters. I'll put back the 2 Veils. Can't really use any of them. All right. Show and Tell. Put in Omniscience and hope it holds. May Scornful Striker. That doesn't stop what I'm doing. I can't go off instant speed here. This is... If they have Plow, they got me. Tight. Okay, so I do gain 5, though, which helps. Okay, that's gone, and then I'll enter the Lost Mine and scry this second Veil to the bottom. Veil to the bottom, and pass. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Could potentially attack for 11 this turn if they're willing to tap out to equip the sword. I take 2 if I cast Brainstorm, and then 2 more to stock up. Atraxa and Acererak both still work, though. It didn't equip the sword. That gives me some extra life to play with. If I Brainstorm in the end step, I go to 7, and then Bowmaster deals another 4. I mean, I gotta cast my spell. I didn't need to spend mana for that. Okay, Bowmaster is there. All right, big moment right now. I go to 3 from the Bowmaster. There's Beseju. Okay. I'm actually massively punished by spending mana for the brainstorm that I didn't have to do. That was a huge throw, but this is going to be big. Okay, so I put back Aluren and Hedge Maze, and then I Beseju. I have to take 2 to do this now because I'm a dope. Beseju the Deafening Silence, which then lets me cast Veil of Summer, and then I don't take damage from the Bowmaster, and then I can ponder stock up, or I can only stock up, I can't ponder. Yeah, God, spending that mana was so stupid. Just preposterously clownish. Oh, right, I also take 2 from May. Wait, did I just lose because I played Veil of Summer? Oh, I was losing no matter what, wasn't I? Shit. No, I lost because I cast Brainstorm. Alright, yeah. Wow. Incredibly poor play there across the board. I actually just got out of a coaching session, which is really funny, where my opponent, or my client was like, they were describing a game where they got excited about a Murktide Regent, they found off of a Ponder and just snapped it into their hand even though there was a Rest in Peace in play. And we had a whole hour-long conversation about, like, when something as dramatic as Rest in Peace is in play, you have to shift how all cards work in your head. And something as dramatic as Omniscience should have shifted how cards work. All right, well, I'm dead. I guess I'll play this Hedge Maze. Does that do anything? All right, Hedge Maze. Yeah, I'm dead before the stock up resolves, so there's not even anything to do there. All right, GG. I'm gonna concede, but I am gonna look at these top 5 cards and see if it was there, if I didn't throw it. 3. Come on, Magic Online. Show me. Okay, this draw an extra card when the game is over feature doesn't seem to want to work, so we'll never know if I would have won. But I actually could have been at exactly 2 when this stock up resolves to then find Acererak and win, and that was a huge throw. GG's though, picked apart by another white creature deck. Turns out that's the problem, not counterspells when you're a show and tell deck.
The NYSE Open is returning on June 6, 2026 to Long Island, New York. This proxy-friendly vintage tournament has the guaranteed prize pool of 8 pieces of Power 9 to be drafted by the top 8 based on final standings. Any additional profits made from the event will be added to the prize pool as on-site vendor credit. This tournament has been great the last 2 years. How often do you get to act sad about winning just a time walk? You know I'll be there. See you at the NYSE Open on June 6 on Long Island, New York. Use my link in the video description or find the New York Stacks Exchange on melee.gg.
I'm on the play in round 4. Another new shirt. Now I'm in space. I'm going to keep this hand. It has Disruption. I'm probably just going to play Misty on 1, and then hold up Veil of Summer, turn 2, stock up, and I can even protect the stock up with Veil because of Lotus Petal. This is one of those grindy omni-show hands that you like to see. I'm just going to Misty pass. Playing out the Lotus Petal gives them information about what kind of deck I am. Misty Rainforest could be anybody. Basic Island Ponder. Okay. Could be a mirror match. A mirror match is a mess, by the way. Yeah, I have this unfortunate effect where I post my list before tournaments to my Patreon, and many of my locals are in my Patreon. And I played a tournament recently where I played this deck, and I was one of 4 people out of, I think, 18 who showed up who were playing this deck, which, normally I don't mind because I play decks where you can just outplay people in the mirror match, but I don't know that that's entirely how this one works. Okay, I found an Atraxa. That's great. That's half the battle. Now I'm going to stock up with Veil Protection if they want to force this, and they don't. My own Force of Will and a Brainstorm. Yeah, I'm going to take Force and Brainstorm here. That is Force blue card by itself, and it's card selection and protection. Sending an Acererak away, not the best. But I have this Atraxa now, and if I find a show and tell, we can do something with that. Oh, okay, they're just Delver. Cool. Okay, now we at least understand the mission. We're under pressure here. This is not a deck that can reasonably defeat Atraxa. It's also not a deck that's going to beat me with my own Aluren. Opponent is an instant or creature away from Delirium. And they know my top card. I hope it's show and tell. Bobble draw, eye draw, Lotus Petal, okay. Brainstorm. Show me the goods. Not the most good, but also could be worse. You can get rid of some bad stuff and then cast Ponder off of a... I don't need a basic land. They can't wasteland me enough to kill all my lands this game. Aluren and Acererak. Well, there's all of the stuff. Okay. I'm going to put Aluren in my hand. I'll play out the Lotus Petal because they know about it anyway. And next turn, I have Veil of Summer Force blue card, Aluren win. I think the only card in their deck that could possibly matter is Unholy Heat, and if they even play it. A Brainstorm, this gives you Delirium, but I'm not worried about that. Got rid of a Daze. Yeah, good call. Got a lot of mana here. It's turn 3, past the turn with 6 mana. It's actually super relaxing to pair into a matchup like this one, where your job is just your job. They're going to try to deal damage to you, and you're going to try to combo, and that's the entire conversation. There is no additional anything going on. Compared to the last 2 rounds where I play Show and Tell, I get got by Meteor Sword or whatever the hell. All right, I'm going to Veil. I'm going to Veil first. I don't want to lose a triple counter war. Veil has resolved. I don't think this deck can do anything anymore. Ka-chow. Ka-chow. Nice. Okay, cool. As long as this number on the left is more than 0, you can still win this matchup. Carpet of Flowers is great. Hydroblast could take some pressure off. I'm not super worried about their pressure. They need to be worried about my pressure, frankly. I can do the thing where I move some Lotus Petals into Carpets and the Underground Sea. I could get more Veils in. I think I like Veil more than I like Hydroblast, though Hydroblasting a single Channeler or Core Steel Cutter gives me so many turns to figure it out. Carpets are definitely coming in. And then the Veil and Hydroblast conversation will continue. I could move some forces into this sort of thing. I don't want to change too much about my deck, though. Yeah, I'm going in. This is mostly just a matchup you're happy to see. I could also probably shave an Omniscience in this matchup, because that is a card that's pretty awkward to get red blasted. Oh, this is a shame. No initial mana source to get these carpets running in this beautiful otherwise hand. All right, I'll keep. And I think I'm going to get rid of Boseiju. I hate bottoming a land in Wasteland matchups, but I have a lot of cantrips, and the deck's got a lot of mana in it. Delver. Oh, there's some mana. I was just talking about that. I'll get Basic Island and cast Ponder. Well, this is a shot to win next turn. I could rip off the Show and Tell, put in on missions, and then Acererak can win the game, but that is iced to any counterspell. I think I still like this spread of cards enough to keep it, and I'll decide based on what they show me next turn if I'm going to go right away or wait. I'll probably at least wait until I'm playing around Days and give them 1 turn, which is also another full turn of brainstorming. All the information could change. Delver didn't flip. There is a creature or a land in their hand right now. Thundering Falls. Dumped Core Steel Cutter. They're either trying to flip Delver or they're not worried about having threats. That's what that means. I'm actually going to brainstorm now with my land drop still available. If they daze this, that's great. Okay, there's Aluren. Now I have shots to take. I don't need Omniscience anymore with Aluren in the grip. And I guess I'll float Ancient Tomb on top. Is that how I want to do this? I could shuffle away 2 things. Yeah, I guess I don't need a Tropical Island. All right. I'll just shuffle away 2 bad cards without trying to be clever. Delver Trigger. Flipped Revealing Daze. Okay. I did take the time to play around that. So now it's in their hand where it wasn't before. But now they might have 2. Okay. This explains why they got rid of a Core Steel Cutter. Already had one, turns out. Yeah, here's the damage. A steady output of damage is the best thing this deck can do. If they try to turtle up and control you, it's not going to work for them. But if they can just get you dead in a couple hits, that's the way to do it. Okay, I'm going to fetch a Hedge Maze here and try to win. I'm looking for Force or Veil. or even Carpet of Flowers gives me some flexibility. Veil of Summer on top. But I know they have Daze. Guess I'll play Veil first. And if they Daze this, I just won't pay. Daze. Not going to pay. All right, here we go. Hope they don't have another counterspell. Aluren goes in. Acererak on the stack. Moment of truth. We got the GGs. All right, cool. Yeah, a little textbook. Just amass what you need to do, and then do it the turn before you're going to die against Delver. Clean. Onto the final round.
The BoshNRoll channel is proudly partnered with the Resleevables. In this YouTube series, hosts Patrick Sullivan and Patrick Chapin go set by set through Magic's past, leveraging their decades of experience as Pro Tour players and game designers to analyze the good, the bad, and the ugly of Magic's history. Each episode is a deep dive into the facts, mechanics, cycles, trivia, decks of the time, and historical context of the set. The hosts dig into notable cards of the era and their lasting impact today. Each set gets an award show where the hosts pick their favorite cards for categories such as Best, Worst, and Weirdest. And finally, give a letter grade for the set's overall success. Whether you want a history lesson or a nostalgia hit, The Resleevables has it at youtube.com/TheResleevables.
I'm on the play in the final round. Positive record on the line. I'm going to keep this hand that just rips off stock up. This hand appears a little clunky, but these are hands you're happy with in this deck. I wish the second Aluren was any blue card, but what are you going to do? Basic Island. All right, I hope I don't get stifled. I'm not going to play around Wasteland here, because I'm trying to cast stock up next turn and then Aluren the turn after. And that is not compatible with any basic land. I am going to keep this Misty Rainforest. That gives me green for Aluren. It also insulates me versus Wasteland. I can continue playing either way. Okay, I've been dazed. I accept. Having stock up countered stinks a little bit, but I also have 3 mana to my opponent's 0 mana in play right now. Okay. Definitely some sort of tempo strategy. I can access another Hedge Maze here. I've found a blue card for Force if Aluren turns out to be the better place to go, but now Show and Tell is also a hit. Blue to Delta, still holding that basic island that they picked up on turn 1. Ooh, it's Dimir. And Ponder, okay. This is a little spooky, because normally what I'd like to do here is just ram Aluren onto the stack and either flush out a counterspell or resolve my Aluren. But if they drop out a Bowmaster and a Barrowglyph and just start hitting me, I don't love that. It'll depend on what shows up here. Ooh, Brainstorm. All right. That lets me actually do stuff that isn't that risky to my health. Brainstorm. Okay, I have a Show and Tell with Force backup. Okay, I don't need 2 Alurens here. What are my options? So Aluren's going to go. And then if I put back Ponder, if I cast Show and Tell, Force pitch the Atraxa, and then put in Aluren off Show and Tell. Yeah, this is the spot where exactly having the 4th Acererak would be much better. That's cool. All right, I guess I'll just put both Alurens on top and try to put Atraxa into play right now. Then I can cast Aluren next turn. All right, Show and Tell. If they daze this, I don't have to fight back. If they force it, I'll definitely fight back. Okay. Force pitching Force pitching Ponder. Show and Tell. I'll put in Atraxa. All right, Bowmaster is not that scary. They could have Sheoldred's Edict in their deck, unless they suddenly reveal a 3rd color for Swords to Plowshares or Karakas. I'm not that worried about their creatures from here. Okay, I've got Aluren, Petal, Force, stock up, and I guess I'll take a City of Traders for good measure. Done. All right, cool. That is Force of Will backup, and the one card they don't know in my hand is the Formidable Speaker, which is the full win. Tight. They even had the Edict. All right, I will obviously force that. They didn't have a Force a minute ago. I don't think they have one now. Or they had 2 Forces, but they didn't have 3. You know what I meant. I attack with Atraxa first. Cast Aluren. This could unlock some shenanigans, but I don't expect them to have any creatures that actually beat me. Formidable Speaker. With exactly enough cards left to do the thing. Cool. All right. Demir Tempo. It's like Izzet, except they have Thoughtseize instead of good pressure. Veil of Summer, phenomenal. Carpet, phenomenal. I'll move some of the petals over. So just some notes on the tech I was trying out here is I would have won that game a turn sooner if this Formidable Speaker was Acererak number 4. The you need to discard a card actually did come up. And I've also boarded out Underground Sea in most matches, but it's in a spot where I would also board out Lotus Petal, so I don't know if that actually has told me any stories yet, or it's just, no, I'm taking note. I kind of like Lotus Petal as just something you can hit off of Atraxa. Like tapping out or show and tell, getting Atraxa into play, hitting a Lotus Petal and being able to hold up Veil of Summer is just so nice. Or jumping out ahead of Daze one turn sooner than they think. I'm going to board out one Omniscience here, because I think that Aluren is my bread and butter anyway. I wonder if there's a build with 4 Acereraks, 4 Atraxas, and 1 Formidable Speaker. Rather than replacing one of the payoffs, you could just have 9. I don't know if you need that. Just thinking. Thinking out loud. I think I can go -1 Force of Will here as well, with 4 Veil of Summer in my deck. A tasty little hand here. I'll keep it. I got different pieces of everything with my best mana and my best protection. But they get to go first if I get Thoughtseize before anything happens. All right, Ponder, deal. And I think here I actually want to go Flooded Strand pass, because Carpet of Flowers doesn't cast Veil of Summer on their turn, and getting Carpet Dazed stinks a bit. I would really like for this card to stick, so my stock-ups are great forever. Okay, I drew a Trop. Right, I'm actually just going to play Forest. I changed my mind. The reason to play a duel instead of the Forest here is to maybe put them off the scent of Veil of Summer. But whatever, I have Veil of Summer. Do something about it. Oh, a bug deck. Oh, is this like the Pokemoki bug pile? Is that what we're playing against? That's interesting if true. Oh my god. All right, well, Carpet of Flowers. And I'm going to go to my second main phase and play the other Carpet of Flowers. And this is a development turn. Green, green, another Carpet. And then my plan is to go completely insane next turn. I no longer care about Wasteland in any capacity. Witherbloom Command, blowing up a Carpet would be okay. And if they blow up a Carpet and waste me, that's a pretty good turn. Green, black in the pool, Witherbloom Command confirmed. Veil of Summer. Are we going to have a battle? There's usually like 1 daze in these decks. So hopefully this will at least cost 2 cards if they're going to fight over it. Though I'd prefer to just resolve and have everything. Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah, this is definitely the Pokemoki deck. A bug deck with Karakas out of the sideboard. The mill 3 pickable land still works because Witherbloom Command has multiple targets. But I get to keep my Carpets. So playing the Underground Sea instead of the Karakas. That gives me 2 extra mana this turn. All right, I'm going to make blue off of the first Carpet and decline the second one for now. I want to know what's going on for second main, and then I can make informed decisions. I can also cast Atraxa. Not this turn, but I could have this turn, but I'm going to test their interaction. And knowing that there's a... Oh, God. I got so fucking greedy there. Yeah, I mean, Mystical Dispute is the only card where that could have been the case, but I mean, I didn't play around it, and I had a million ways I could have. All right, that was messy, but okay. I'll cast Atraxa next turn. I'm not going to play this Aluren, because if they run out of Barrogoyf on me, that's a way that this all falls apart. And Mystical Dispute, tough one. If that was on my radar, obviously I play that last turn completely differently. Rakshas's Bargain. This is not Pokemoki's list. He doesn't play that card, but I love this card. Power to you. I wonder if this is Beans. Is this trusty old classic bug Beans? They put Brainstorm and Polluted Delta in the graveyard. There's Tameo. We know Karakas is in the hand, and then there's 4 mystery cards that we haven't really tested yet. Force of Will. Okay. How much mana do I have? It's 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I have to make black and white off of the Atraxa. Then I get blue-green. Yeah, this works. All right. Yes, make black. Yes, make white. Play my land for turn. Atraxa. Green, blue. And I can hardcast Force of Will. Force pitching Force. Force pitching nothing. And Carpet of Flowers. Hell of a card. I still have Caracas, but me ripping off an Atraxa's worth of cards here should be enough to win next turn. Oh, yeah. All right. Acererak, Aluren, Misty Rainforest, stock up. Done. Okay, pass. Last turn was extremely messy. This turn was awesome. That's what you get for playing Islands. Brainstorm flips the Tameo. The only card, or they don't know, Flooded Strand and Aluren. They don't know I have 2 Alurens. Oh, if they do set up a counterspell here, I have plenty of mana to cast 2 Alurens and still go nuts. Tameo plus. Sure, we're going to see that Caracas. There it is. Atraxa to my hand. 3 mana left, 3 cards in hand. Veil of Summer, that'll do it. I'm just going to make blue and green off of these. Green, blue. Don't need to cast Atraxa. It's going to happen anyway. Aluren. Okay, Aluren's in there. Acererak, without playing its mana cost. Forcing that, kind of clever. Veil of Summer. All right, Acererak cannot be countered. A Sheoldred's Edict from here could still slow down my turn, but I still have stock up and I could just put Atraxa back into play. All right, they do have it. Making a battle out of this, I appreciate it. Okay, the Lost Mine, the Scry 1 actually matters. Edge Maze to the bottom of my deck. I'll cast stock up. And there's Acererak, the Arc Lich. And I guess I'll take Brainstorm for good measure. Another one. Yeah, having more than one Acererak in the deck is definitely an innovation in the right direction. Positive record. We defeated everyone without Meteor Sword in their deck. That's an interesting statistic. Yeah, I still like this deck. I made a huge mistake in one of the games, and in the other one, the sideboard's not super set up for Death and Taxes kind of stuff right now. The folks who can use your Aluren against you, or use your Show and Tell against you, those folks are kind of dangerous right now. I think the last time I played this deck in a big tournament, I had 3 consigns and a defense grid, all of which I would bring in against those white decks. And there's fewer pieces for that. But there are more Aceraks now too, so just bullying them over the Aluren is something the deck can do now, which it couldn't do before. The one Acererak used to have to do it. Huge fan of the innovation to play more of these. Still interesting conversation. Do you want 1 speaker? Should it be the 8th monster? Should it be the 9th? We could play 10, 4 of each guy, and then 2 speakers. Maybe 0 speakers right, and Brady was just doing it. But I do think that innovation in the shell is still possible. And I still think this deck is pretty great. I'm going to leave this one here. Everyone, thanks for watching. Be sure to use code BoshNRoll10 at Into the AM to buy dope shirts that are really comfortable. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, check out the Patreon to support the channel, and I'll see you next time.